All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into it, get started. This is Elliott Wave Sage. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for education, entertainment purposes. Just to kind of recap the market. We are starting to see it top out, I think. It's yet to be seen if we've made the actual peak, but it seems like the VIX is giving us the indication that that's the case. This was really the thing to watch. Last live stream showed this wedge. We were down here, and of course we broke out, and now we should violently continue higher as this pattern needs to really complete. Taking out 24 on the VIX. Ultimately, I would like to see the 30 VIX hit before this sequence is over on the VIX. And then the market does have a chance for the melt up top, blow off top that some people think. But if the VIX gets out of hand, out of control, then the market will just crash and it's over. There is no melt up. The people in the melt up camp will lose everything. So we don't know exactly how this sell-off will be playing out in October. As you know, October's historically been the month where the market crashes throughout history. So there's this technical precedent that markets crash in October. Now, there's never just a peak and crash. Usually when the markets crash in October, we're usually 5 to 10% off of the all-time high. We're not there yet. So I'd be shocked to just see it crash from here. But what I wouldn't be surprised to see is a big pullback and then a rally. And then sometime late October, we could get all hell breaking loose in the market, ironically right around election time frame. Now, some people believe we can continue higher just a little bit more. I believe if you believe in that, it's still possible. The VIX is telling you otherwise. However, I would say that you're picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. This cycle has been going on since, at least 09. But probably earlier, and it's coming to an end. The divergences are playing out on almost all time frames. I believe it's delusional to think the market is just going to keep melting up and going higher without a substantial pullback or reset. At least we need the VIX to reset itself with a three-wave bounce. Then perhaps you can get the melt up. And that's kind of what I'm showing here in this pullback, where we get a deep pullback in October, but it's actually buyable. And it isn't the crash that everyone wants. And then you get this final melt up top, blow off top. All the sequences finish across world markets. Then we peak. Then we have an epic crash, which would be after October, right? I'm just showing you a couple alternatives. Now I could put the 4 here, right? And maybe put a 5 here, force it. Or maybe I could even say we topped here, and this is just a three-wave move, and it just goes straight down, right? There's so many Elliott wave combinations, so you can't trade just the Elliott waves. So we trade the sequences. The Dow Jones still in the sell area here. Looking at it again, it's I believe we're in this 4-wave, which would still be a buyable dip at some point, and it did come back down to race divergence in a 3-wave move. Again, so I do think this is kind of what I'm thinking we're going to see. And then a buyable dip, melt off top, blow off top. I don't know how it will actually look, how much time it will take. And then super crash, 2025 at some point. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. Now, I can't rule out that it just crashes and this isn't in 4. And in fact, 4 is already done here. Now, that's why we'll have to just wait and see how this plays out as it unfolds. Now, if we can keep pushing higher, then it becomes clear we're in 4 already. But right now, I think it's still suspect. And then, of course, the Nasdaq filled the gap and started to turn lower. And the Nasdaq may have already peaked in July. 3-wave move over, and we come back down to 405, and then we can see what will happen with the Nasdaq at that point. Do we form a right shoulder and then have a super crash in technology? Or does it actually come up and extend this fifth wave for the melt up, blow off top? We don't know. But if you look at this first wave, it's in 3 and not 5. So the bulls have a chance. If we could pull back deep, there's a chance that technology could be a great buyable trade here if this happens in 3 waves with the 3-wave structure, lead into more upside out of this, then super crash. Now, the alternative is it's some kind of 1, 2 with a 3-wave leading diagonal coming out of the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then pull back. That's a possibility. We need to wait and see how it develops. But for the time being, right now, I believe that we're starting to see the turn lower here. Now, if we could push higher and take this high out, then it's obvious the 5 is extended and the market will be supported. Technology will continue higher and the market isn't ready to drop. So that's why you just can't put your whole stack in bearish, and you can't be, delusional and go all in this market, because either side right now, it's kind of like a very big battle between both sides of the market, and it hasn't really surfaced yet the alignment that I want to see to make it like obvious to me. But I think what I'm seeing is we do a big pullback. October seems like the right time to do it, around the election, maybe into November, and then a rally. Maybe the election wasn't as bad as we thought. Maybe the person who won, who didn't win, will concede graciously, and it will be like, party on. And then when that change of power happens, then maybe something more dramatic will happen in 25 that will cause the market to panic. But I'm just speculating here. But I think for the most part, we're topping out. I think it's best to play both sides, have short positions and long positions. I think that's the way to play this market in this phase we're in, and not be on one complete side, or you probably will come out with nothing at the end. And I believe you need to take your profit that you get it and then get back in, because I believe it's choppy. It's not going to be a straight line down. Everyone just wants it to go straight down, or they want it to go straight up, but it never happens that way. And I think people are losing a lot of money, because that's how they're trading, because they're trading like we're in a wave 3. They're trading like we're back in this wave 3, right? We're back in this wave 3. We're not in the wave 3 anymore. We could be in a wave 4, or we've already topped. And so you can't trade the market the same way as you trade wave 3s. But everybody trades like a wave 3, and they just want to hold. Bears just want to hold their, short positions, and then they lose everything on a pump like we had the other day. And then bulls are about to see the same thing happen to them in the next couple of days, my guess. You can't just hold. You got to trade. You got your profit. Take your money, run, and then reload. That's how it's got to be. Both sides, short, long, have both positions. The VIX was an obvious setup here. Now the VIX is paying out. So when do you take the profit? Well, you got to take the profit at some point. If you hold it, I guarantee you the VIX is probably going to come back down again. And you're not going to have anything to show for it, because that's how this market's going to trade, right? We all want it to just go straight up, but it may not do that. Now, eventually it will come, I think, to 30, but how it gets there could be very choppy. Look at how choppy this was on the way down. Look at even on the way up. Essentially sideways to higher. You can't just buy and hold that. You can't just buy and hold this. And I believe that's how this will continue to be. This market will continue to behave. Okay. Bitcoin should be pulling back here. Right now I got it in this A wave. A little bit of bullish divergence here. We'll see how this goes. It could be a shallow connector, but we knew it was topping out. We just the fifth wave kept extending. Is finally, now it's done. Oil is in I wanted to see another push higher in oil. We may not get it. If we don't get it, and we're going to get this pullback like I have in 5 waves to start the C leg, then the market will be under much more pressure than people realize. Gold, looking for one more wave higher, although I could just do this and say gold's peaked. They're very dangerous to chase gold here. Silver as well. Silver could have already peaked in 5 here. That wave 3 was very strong. That could be the wave 3 of this leg. So there's no chance. There's a small chance the wave 5 will extend. It may have already be finished. A major cycle top here. But now it's in a buy area. So for those that want to take a chance, you could buy silver here and try your luck at a push within wave 5 of a 3 of 5 if this count is not right. If it's really just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where you want to buy it. So this is it, but it's very dangerous because it could end at any moment, this cycle. And the first sign that the cycle will be over would be a failed breakout of this downtrend, which would be a close below $30. A close below 30 would probably indicate to me that it was a false breakout and it's over. The cycle's over, and we're going to correct the whole cycle all the way back from August 2022. Many month correction in precious metals. Dollar index is showing me that we are in this wave 5. This is a typical wave 5. I don't think this is a 1 2 1 2 1 2 crash wave. I believe it's some kind of ended diagonal wave 5 that will continue on. We may not make it to the 98 target, but when it's finished, that will start our bear market across the world markets, as the dollar index then needs to continue higher all the way up to 120 in a multi-year bear market, just like we saw in 21, 22. And then, of course, the 7-year is or may have already hit the sell area and rates, indicating rates may be going higher from here. The 10-year and 20-year are not quite there yet. More downside, but then once they're in these areas, then interest rates are in danger of a reversal, which is tended to be a bearish trend for the market as rates build higher. In a wave 3, surprising the market for higher rates for many years to come. Something I've predicted for many months and even the last year or two that this would happen. I was the only one that predicted the drop in rates that you guys followed before they happened. That's why I have these boxes here. We were short, rate, long bond, long bond, long bond, long bond again. So we now, look how many swings we got right in the bond market. So do you really think I'm going to be wrong probably here? Probably not. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm 4 for 4 on the bond market. This would be the ultimate call, right? No one's calling the rates are going to go all the way up to 9.5%, 9% by the end of the decade. But I'm calling that. So you better want to refinance right around this area, because that may be it. That may be it. Or go buy your house that you're trying to get into, because I think after that, the market, and then if we get these rates with this 4 and 5, if this 4 and 5 plays out and we get a 5, then it's going to take even another swing higher much later, which is will be really bad. But what we have to hope for is we just get 3 waves, it finishes, and then we start our bull market in bonds again. Secular, a generational investment in bonds could happen here, as long as we don't get that 5th wave. See, we got that 5th wave here, ruined the setup for the bulls and bonds. And then China, I'll end on China before I go into your super chats, guys. So China's, anytime you got anybody that goes on TV, guys, that says to put your whole stack in a market, they are either one, delusional with euphoria, which is the top of a market. That's the definition of euphoric top, euphoria, or they're selling into the strength and they're lying, and they should be investigated, arrested, and put in jail. So it's one extreme or the other. Now, this guy that came on TV, I won't name his name, on CNBC, said basically put your whole stack in China. He put his whole stack in. He couldn't buy enough. He wants you to buy. That's such a euphoric, delusional, that's the worst investment advice anyone can ever give you. is to put your whole, so please don't listen to that bullshit. Don't listen to that bullshit. Guys, that's bullshit. And even Kramer was kind of like, whatever. I mean, it's kind of foolish to really believe that. So God help us if he was actually selling into that, and I hope he goes to jail for a long time if that ever comes out. But anyway, I don't know. I just think you got to be really careful. So I would just be really careful. All right. So what I would say with China is I believe it's a sucker's rally. It's typically when a rally comes off a low like that, it's a short squeeze generated rally. So what I have China is this 3-wave move. We're taking a bigger third wave that could really end at any moment. Now, it could truncate a little bit, but at some point it will end somewhere around where it is now. And then you get another leg lower. The reason I've seen this pattern play out many times with this overlapping wave structure. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, essentially a leading diagonal coming out of the market here for China. The market always goes between the 4 and the 2, almost always. So the bottom is 8,500. We're nowhere near it. We didn't even get to the wave forward. This to me is a sucker's rally that will fail for another leg lower, which makes sense if we're calling a bear market is coming in the indices in the next couple years. Why would China be any different? Why would China go higher? It won't. So sucker's rally, if you made that trade, good for you. Make sure you take some profit. Don't be a greedy bastard, and don't be stupid and chase it here. I mean, don't listen to these idiots on TV telling you to put your whole stack in a market. That's the dumbest thing I could ever hear. But this should be over. See, this 3-wave could be over right here too. If I just measure this properly here, you could see it hit the sell area exactly, and it kind of stalled out right here. So it is finding some resistance here. But if this is flat, we would get a pullback and one more high potentially. And it could retest this high. But it's probably close to it. Again, if you look at the higher time frames, you have massive hidden bearish divergence. Look at where the RSI is here. Look where the RSI is here. We're well below this peak. So so we used a lot of bullish energy, but yet we still didn't even get over this W peak. All that bullish energy, and we still couldn't get price over this. That tells you there's hidden bearish divergence in this pump. That's something that should concern you. But I'm very skeptical of this, especially how the sentiment is around this. It's people feel it's too much of a sure thing, a sure bet. It can't be. It never is like that. So I think it's sucker's rally. I believe the real bottom in China is right here, right where I have it, at some point in the future, the real low. Okay, so let's go to your super chats, guys. It's $5 a super chat, and I'll look into your stock, and then we'll go from there. All right, Ronaldo FFIE. Let's take a look at that real quick. So this one we've been looking at for you, and the 30-minute time frames and those shorter time frames are notorious for having a lot of possible paths. It's really difficult to trade the 30-minute time frame on any instrument because there's so many permutations and combinations of moves. So it's much better to trade higher time frames. But if you look at least the 45-minute, yeah, I mean, it looks like it's done, right? You filled the gap, and like I said, but it really has to stay below 270, right? This right here. And it looks like you're gapping up right now, 284. So that's the play on this. It'll probably fail. I mean, this ain't going till new all-time highs. I hate to break it to you, but I believe it's a pump. Yes. Should it take out this peak? Yes. After that, I don't know how high it can go. but it looks like it's done to me. It does look like wave 2 is complete. Yep, it does absolutely look like it's complete to me. I would even probably put my stop actually here at like 275 and just let it ride and see what happens. Because if it breaks 275 and then it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's a 5-wave move down and it's pretty much a broken chart. It'll just keep going lower. Okay, less L. Let's go to MP. MP. Here it looks like you've got that nice 5-wave move off the low here, right? You see that? And then you came down in 3. And then you're turned up. So to me, that looks like a major low is in on this instrument here, and we're turning higher. So to me, it's just building out a wave 3, and at some point you may get a pullback, but it looks like you can't really even label this. It looks like just a 1, 2. It's in 3. So to me, this is where if you got long in this area, this low $10 area, you should just hold it for maybe many years to come. There's really no reason to trade in and out of it until the market tries to stop you out. But it does look like to me the cycle's over and you're breaking out, and with 5 up. So it does look good. All right, VXRT. Let's take a look at VXRT. So it's one of these go to zeros. Go to zero, this looks like just 3 waves up off the low. So again, we would just have to come down from this point and look for 5 waves down. And maybe you time the market right and you get lucky. You see, you can't really chart it. I wouldn't assume that this low would hold because it's only 3 waves up. It looks like to me we need a 5th wave down. So it looks like to me we still have like one more low left to happen in this wave here, right? Let's take a look. Let's go to the higher time frame. Looks like we're already bouncing, so that means that's your 4. Your 5 was here. So this is all that's all the bounce you got, and you see you corrected the whole cycle. So people are selling into this like crazy, and then you have 5 down. So this could be something very dangerous to be on the long side right now, because this whole thing could be 1, 2. And 2 could already be over because you only have 5 down here. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go to the shorter time frame and see. You see that bullish divergence. So this looks like to me a classic 5 waves down. And then some kind of 3-wave up action. So one more push higher. My guess is it's not going to make it above 163, but you have one more swing higher that should happen like that, and then it should be a catastrophe in whatever this is. That's what I'm thinking right now. You could see the wave 2 only made it back to the previous wave 4 high, which makes sense. I believe it's very dangerous. I also believe that whenever this plays out, you could try to short it against this peak here and maybe get lucky for the wave 3 collapse. Boom. Whatever that it looks like. As long as you're below 160. Now, if you go above 160, then it's got to be doing 3 swings up. And then this would be your W, would be an A, B, C. This would turn into an impulse. and we would probably go up to 220, and I would still short that later. So I would just close it and then re-short it. But to me, this looks like a short setup. But I got to look at this as 5 down, and it's ready to, but probably one more swing higher below this peak is what I'm thinking. But I don't see a long play on this. Okay, some kind of consolidation here, and then eventually it'll break this bear flag or whatever this is, and then down. All right, next, Jeremy. Okay, so zero, the strongest wave is usually Y or C in the corrective structure. Again, if it's a go to zero type stock, so we would trade off this low. You see, only have 3 waves down, so the corrective move could be over already, and now you're pushing a new wave lower. And as you could see, you have a 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then you broke that low, and you took that RSI peak out here. It looks like you're still in the downtrend. I'll be still looking for a counter trend rally higher, but that should fail ultimately. So I would be looking for something like this, and then maybe something like that, and then this is in a bigger connector wave. So I would be looking for something like that is what I'm thinking. Here, it may not go as high as you think, but I believe that's the count we're in now. This would be really bearish if that's the X wave, but I don't think it is. I think this cycle will break out here. It's about to, and then that should create this pump. So I do believe that within this cycle you have a W and you're in some kind of X, and you'll come out, and then it will fail in Y. Something like that is what I'm thinking. There's a chance this X could be pretty substantial when it happens, because everyone's caught on the wrong side of the market right now. That's what it looks like to me. But good luck on that. The first clue will be the 45-minute cycle break-in, which is you already seeing the RSI curl upward. If you can get that follow through, it will start a massive short squeeze, and then this should be born. This Y should be born, and hopefully you get this big X pump. But that should fail again, and then we do it all over again. So that's kind of what I'm thinking will play out. Something like that. And then you'll get another one of these later. Okay, good luck on that. I'm in X down on the 4-hour. So, I mean, depending on what you look at it, yeah, I mean, I'm in a W. So it depends on what degree X you're in. I'm still in an X. So I am in this X. Yeah. But that's going to end and you'll get Y. Y will be bigger, big pump. Because it's a short squeeze as the market is on the wrong side. And all the sellers there's no more sellers left because they overplayed their hand. And you can look at this price action. That's what it looks like to me. The sellers can't push it. Look, they're trying to push it, and they just can't get it any lower. Eventually, they have to give up. And that's what this will represent. All right. Okay, S1 Baidu. I never like talking about how high a stock can go, only because I've had some followers lose a lot of their money because all they think about is how high it goes, and then they end up losing everything. So you can't. I'll just tell you this. I'll answer it because you gave me the super chat, but I'll just say this: if all you're worried about, and I'm not saying you are, if all you're worried about is how high something can go, then you're not doing it right. You have to worry about how much you're willing to lose. And then however much money you make on that is great. You make 10 times your money, perfect. You make 2 times, great. You make 20%, no bad. It's all about your loss. Your loss. I care less how high it goes. Maybe it can go to infinity. You know, who gives a shit, right? I don't know. So here's, I guess we called the bottom here, actually. We said it had to back into the low, right? It was like do or die, right? It was like you had to hold this low, and if you didn't, then it was going to collapse to like, you know, like this whole pattern, it would collapse, like almost go to zero. Like so it almost was like a no-brainer, like long. Now that we have it, I'm thinking you'll get a 3-swing move. I think it could get up to this area where I've colored here, 200, 190. That's what I'm thinking before the next major consolidation pullback. Let's double check everything though. I think to be conservative, we'll say 178. Like this will probably be a more conservative area here. Now, what if that doesn't happen? Well, then this stock is screwed. I mean, there's no other way to put it, because obviously this little pump reset this whole cycle, right? Reset this whole cycle. So this wouldn't be 2. You would break this 2. It would create uncontrollable sell-in like we've never seen before. It would bring Baidu all the way back down to these areas down here, which seem unthinkable, but that's what would happen technically. I mean, look at this top. This is a massive top-in pattern with a massive neckline. That's big. It's, you know, it's holding up, but it has to hold. This has to hold here. It has to hold. If it can't hold, it's game over, technically, for this instrument. So I'm showing you, like, yeah, here's your upside, but you better control your loss. You better know, like, not to be stupid and go keep buying it. Like, if if you're in this trade and you break out of $78 or even this 74, you better be stopping out, or you're going to have a catastrophe on your hands, and and these targets may never be seen ever. That's all I'm saying. That's why I never like to give targets. I just like to trade against the low, your risk. So there's your risk. So as long as you're above this low, it should grind higher. As long as you're above this low, it should continue, despite whatever pullback, it should continue to grind higher until you're in this area. And then I believe it could reverse, and the cycle, this big cycle's over. And then it may go into another multi-year consolidation. That's how I look at the market. So if you're long from the $70 area, then you just should hold it and let the market stop you out, which would be if it broke below like 78. And then TISA show IO, but it'll be helpful to see the inverse. All right, well, I can do that. I still think the IWM, so I still like my overall forecast on the market is one more pump. Let me go to here. My bad here. Okay. Again, they're trying to save the market. Guys, they're trying. And I get it. It's the end of the quarter and there's a big battle going on. But the Russell looks like this to me. I've had this target on the Russell for over a year and a half, maybe. Since we were trading down here, this was my target. I see this in the Russell's future, a big pullback, and then a big rally higher for a massive top. Now, could it be already done? And this is just some kind of 1, 2? Yeah, maybe. We'll know if this break, like this has to hold above 196. So if this is to count, then TZA will have a good increase, and then it's going to collapse, just like because of this pump, it's going to collapse. So that's how I would look at it. Again, that's why I say you can't just buy and hold these positions. You have to sell. So I believe TZA is an opportunity to go long, to play this drop. But then at some point, you're going to need, I think, take profit on it and get out of it, or you'll lose all your gains. That's how I look at it. So if we go to TZA, we can look at that real quick and see how that's trading. And maybe sometimes we do get clues from the triple levered funds. Sometimes there's clues. So TZA, I was just looking at three waves, and the 3-wave buy was right where we are now. So yeah, we should be getting a reaction here higher. We should be getting a reaction here higher. If I just look, you see we should be reacting higher to correct this cycle here. Let's go to the monthly. So you can't really learn much from the monthly. Let's go to the weekly. Yeah, very interesting chart. Just looking at it again, probably it should be more like this. So let me redo it, looking at it like this. And then there's your so you have this W. We're going to get this pump and then one more low. So I think this is the look of this sequence here. Just had to update this. I hadn't updated this in a while. So that would get you to like 961, this area here. But I believe you have this rally coming in TZA. I believe you have this rally coming. Soon. You know, something like this. Something like that. And as long as it's behind this downtrend line, it should take that swing lower. If we break it, then the bottom's in. And then this is the higher targets come into play. What we do know, if you looked at that monthly, that's massive bullish divergence on the monthly. Eventually, this is going to play out, and the monthly will trade up in this area in the bear market. It will. So you can see the bears of TZA are losing control slowly, but it's taking time. But eventually, this will play out. But it's close. I don't think it's finished quite yet. I still think you get this little bit of a pump and then another dump here in the market. Because I think that's where I believe the market's going to want to go. It's going to want to say like, okay, we're going to go down and scare everyone. And by the time we're down here, oh, it's a crash. It's the end of the bull market. Everyone's going to be uber bearish, but actually it won't be. It will be another squeeze blow off top type situation. And then it can, because there's a lot of growth, guys. There's a lot of growth stocks, shit growth, that are already so beaten down. They need more space on the upside to correct. Now, mega cap tech has space on the downside already. They have plenty of space to correct lower to bring the market down. But there's a lot of other stocks that aren't. They're already so close to the low, so they need to get higher. So that's why I look across the market. It just seems like to me that there's a lot of stocks that still need more upside before it's all fully aligned, the market's fully aligned to crash. But not all of them need it. There's a lot of mega cap should be finished or close to finishing. They're done. But there's a lot of other stocks that aren't, that are so beaten down, so oversold, like we saw with China. They need a pump. They need something to get some space. And then that'll allow them to correct. And that will give the market opportunity to crash that everybody dreams about. Okay. Michael, PayPal. Yeah, I was looking at PayPal the other day. I still don't want to buy into that move. I don't want to buy into that move. I don't like PayPal. I just don't like it. I believe it's just in a higher degree correction now. So before we had the sell here, now we did get this little bit of a reaction out of the sell area because we're looking at it still in like an X connector, but that didn't play out. So it looks like it's actually in a higher degree correction move. And if that's the case, now the sell area is here. So it's a bigger degree, which is also means this bounce is correcting the whole decline lower. So what we need to see is either a 4 and a 5 and a pullback and it's investable again, or it will actually come down take this low out and there'll be catastrophic selling. So what I think what you're hoping for is could this be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? If we can get this fifth wave, then I've changed my mind on PayPal. And then when we get ABC down, that's buyable. That's a buyable trade setup here. But you have to wait for it to play out. That's going to take time to play out, I think. So, but if that doesn't happen and it's just 3 waves, this is where it should fail right here, right now. It should fail right here, because I was thinking we'd get a smaller pullback and then get this Y leg, but it looks like we just got the Y right away with a small reaction in this short area where we did produce sellers, just not the turn. So that's how I look at it. So I still don't like it until we can get a 4 and a 5, right? Until we get a 4 and a 5. There's no divergence here on the daily, really. I need a pullback and another high. Then I would change my mind on PayPal. But until then, it's just kind of this bearish structure. I'm on the sidelines on it. I don't really interested in it. The consumer discretionary, same thing. I believe the consumer discretionary is in a connector wave and will fail for one more leg lower, at least a major leg lower. That means Nike will do the same thing. So Nike to me is a sucker's rally. Again, we called the buy here, right? The tradable bounce here, 70, right? I said, hey, buy it here. But that's a tradable rally. But I believe this is a sucker's rally that will fail. And I believe we'll either get to 50 or lower. But we need one more. I think we need one more of these sequences like that to finish out. So the question is, where would this bounce fail? I believe I should fail pretty soon looking at it, but maybe not yet. It's got a little more upside probably. No, it may be done. So see, 91 would be it. It's struggled here. There's your massive trend line resistance back test, which is always considered in textbooks an ideal short setup, right? Here's your historic trend line. Maybe it could bounce back. You could short at 93. But I believe that's gonna fail. This rally will fail. This rally will fail, and then we'll get one more swing lower, and then maybe you'll get a massive investment opportunity, because I think Lululemon's in the same pattern. It's in a bounce that's forming a connector wave that will fail for one more low, and I believe across all consumer discretionary we'll do the same kind of sequence here. But you'll have to do what's best for you, of course. Let's take a look at the RSIs real quick and see. Yeah, I may have to tweak the degrees a little bit differently. Let's just kind of go back and just make sure I have the right degrees set up. So the first one here we have. Let's go to the monthly. Yeah, this is how you should label it. Just like this. Just like get rid of that target for now. So there's your first stub. Yeah, so something like this is what I'm thinking. And then we'll have to see where the target ends up being. But you see, here's your wave 4 cluster. Here and here. More than likely, the final low is somewhere in this area, like $50. That's ultimately where the final low probably will take shape. And if you're super lucky, it will be below that at 40. But this, I believe it needs this push down, just like this. That's what I'm looking for. All right, PDD. All right, let's take a look at that one. Let's see how that is doing. PDD. So PDD it looks like way too big for 4-wave. So what this morphed into is a 3-wave structure off the lows, 3 waves. So we will need to take another look at it. So it's a much more complex correction than we realized. So get rid of all that. Get rid of this. So it looks like that's your first 3. So I would put W, X, Y, one more swing down. So X could, you know, it could do so many things here. It's almost impossible to trade properly given this setup. So I wouldn't bother trading it. To me, this is just a top-in process that it's going through right now. In a major top. Now, if it could finish, then we have a great trade setup. Because then you have a clear sequence to trade. Maybe I'd put it there. And then you could probably buy it at 77.61. Ideally 61 would be the better area to buy it. So that would be the better setup, trade setup, but it would take a lot of patience and a little luck to get that just right there. But the X gets, it's in a connector of essentially a connector, which means it should be choppy. So we should be getting a pullback, and then it's going to be really volatile in this area until, but I do believe that this is too bullish to say that's the low, because if this really is a wave 3 of 3 and China is actually going to go to the moon, the world indices can't crash in that situation. They just can't. And I don't believe that's the case. So that's why this aligns better with my overall forecast. But do what's best for you. I'm not interested in chasing anything related to China right now. So good luck with that. Nvidia. So I was looking at Nvidia recently, and Nvidia does, like I said, I was looking at Nvidia as needing a drop, a pump, we're in this connector where we drop, pump, come back down, and then rip higher. I still think this is the pattern. I think I'm going to go with discount for now. As long as we're below 128.50, I believe this is the count. A pullback to 80, a buyable trade for this pump to new all-time highs, and then a historic top for a multi-year pullback. But that's only wave 3, so it actually still will go higher, but it's not. But this 4 will take years to finish, years. And it could also become another 1-2, which means it could crash and go all the way back down. But whatever happens, I think this is the count. I still think Nvidia makes one more all-time high, but I don't think it seems like it's not able to do it right now. I think it's got this corrective. Now, I have it as a 4, but it could easily turn into, like I said, 1-2s, right? We have this 1-2. What if this becomes another 1-2? If it does, it'll go even deeper. It could come down to 51 or even lower and get a 1-2, 1-2. These would be super buys if that happens. I'm just showing you the most likely path. And this is what I think the most likely path is. As long as we're below this trend, this downtrend line, it looks like we've got this established trend line now. It's in a bear market. Nvidia's in a bear market. I mean, a bear market right here. As long as you're below that line. Now, if we could come above it, I believe we will make one more high and then it will peak. But I think this is the count I would put on Nvidia right now. All right, Disney. I was looking at Disney 2 the other day, and Disney may have finally. I want to see this push out in C leg. This connector was way too shallow. It was almost like the Baidu situation. It just couldn't, it needs another pump. If it was going to break below 77, Disney would collapse to $35 in uncontrollable selling. baby boomer panic, because most of the baby boomers, this was a baby boomer growth stock. This was the Tesla, the baby boomers, guys. Disney was Tesla back in the day of the baby boomers, and it's peaked. It's peaked, but a lot of people haven't panic sold yet. But I believe there will be a panic sell-off in Disney after this sequence plays out. But I believe we should get the C leg, maybe the 150 even, counter trend. And we're starting to see that build higher. We're starting to see that build higher. Looks like we're in another 1-2 here. It should just continue to build higher. If we fail to do that, if it fails, again, if this is wrong and we break 83, then it will collapse. It will be an epic collapse of biblical proportions, because look at this top. Look at this head and shoulders top going all the way back to 2015. It will absolutely come back to the historical trend line, which is $33, and probably quickly. But that's something to worry about another day. That's why I would just, if you're long, you let the market stop you out, and you can just hold. Maybe get to 150 if you're lucky. At least want to break this high, erase divergence, and then the sequence is over. But that's what I'm looking for in Disney. Okay, Eddie, BZUN. Let's go to yours, BZUN. All right, BZUN. We're in like an extreme buy area now. So you see this wave 4 here. It's possible that's still the wave 4. But you see how we broke that cycle. We got to be really careful and realistic. It's already sold off so much. Just looking at it, let's take another look. You see how it reset the whole cycle here. So it looks like to me that this is finished here, and this 4 was shallow, or we're just missing after hour data that's just missing on this chart. So to me, it looks like more than likely the only way to label it would have to be put the 3 there, that 4 there, and the 5 here. But it does look like that cycle's over. So the cycle's over, and we're building higher. So that, and this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, 3 down, a wave 3 is coming out. So the market's turning higher here, out. So yeah, it's coming out of a historic bottom now. So it's got to hold that low at 188. As long as it can do that, it should continue to build higher highs. And if you're lucky, it trades all the way back up here. But it should slowly basin out here and go higher. It should do that, and it should hold that low. Failure to hold the low would create a lot of downside. So it really needs to hold this level now. And this is our extreme area. Like this area here is like, this is the area. So there you go. Okay, Carl, WBA. Walgreens. Everyone's trying to bottom fish Walgreens. I was trying to tell people to hold off on that. Let's see how this chart's been playing out. Looks like, all right, looks like we maybe finished Walgreens finally after all this time. Bullish divergence. You have a massive cycle reset on the daily. The weekly trying to, and you have bullish divergence right there. So to me, it looks like Walgreens probably is ready for a big counter trend rally. Now, the rally could fail. So if you have dreams of all-time highs, don't dream again about how high it can go. This rally could easily fail. This rally could easily fail, but it should rally counter trend because the shorts need to take profit and late shorts need to get destroyed. The late shorts need to get destroyed in it. But, you know, could this be a Caravana part 2 and they save the company and they reinvent themselves and God knows what, maybe. But yeah, to me, it's counter trending now. It's coming out. That looks like a 1-2 right there. Yeah, maybe I'll be careful. It could be a 4-5. So I would be careful. Could be this too. Could be this count. But if it pulls back, this is buyable against 815. So this is a good like day trade type stock for sure. Especially if the market will give you a pullback, a better entry than here. Like right here would be not a really good entry or setup, but I believe it's so oversold, so like despised. It's got to rally come in. People are gonna fall in love with it again for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe their earnings will be better, but this is it. There it is. And a lot of people were asking me about Walgreens back. I was like, don't buy it, don't buy it. But now I'm like, okay, now it looks okay for a long trade. It looks okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, sometimes I miss super chats because there's so many of them in there, or they come in late. But I always try to make it up. If I miss your super chat in the future, just put it on Twitter and I'll read it, and then I can update a video or put it out there for you guys. There's FFIE pumping. Look at that. We just talked about that this morning. Okay. Bitcoin may already be done going low. I wouldn't expect it to go very low, to be honest with you. You know, looking at this, it looks like 5 waves. There's a little bit of bullish divergence here. So again, it depends on what this wave structure is right here. If it's a flat and I do this, then it's bottomed already. The 2 is in. It is here's your wave 4 cluster. You would not expect it to go much lower than this area right here. And it already is really kind of tagged it. So I'm showing the B and C, but I think the odds of B and C happening are like 25% odds. I wouldn't be surprised if it's already in 2 because it's already gone deep. The 45-minute clearly reset the cycle. I wouldn't be surprised if it's already done. But you have to do what's best for you. Now, the better setup would be B and C. Right, this would be ideal. This would be a gift. If the market could give you a connector and a failure down to 60,000, well, shit. I mean, then that's a great trade setup. But I doubt it's gonna. I'm willing to bet that the 2 is probably finished around here. But what do I know? It's again, I can't predict the future, but I would be really careful thinking it's gonna go lower. Given I had a lot of capitulation here, I would say 25% chance of a B and C. Most likely it probably is bottomed here right now. Is my thinking. Let's look at some other crypto equivalent stocks and see if they give us any clues. So here you don't really have any 3-wave move. So this tells you, and you see where the wave 4 is, you would expect BITX to drop to 2670. So this is telling me that, yeah, maybe we'll go lower. Because the ideal entry here, area of the bottom would be right here. So this is telling me maybe we would do the B and C. Okay. That's what that's telling me. Let's look at some others. CLSK. Yeah, I mean that looks like it's deep enough for me. So MIGI, let's look at that. MIGI. You see how it again, that could still be 4. It's because it's still just 3 waves and a race divergent. So it still could be 4 here. So I still don't like trading MIGI. I just don't like it. Still, I don't like it. I just don't like, I want to see that 5th swing. BCHG. Looking for the flat correction back down here. Let's take a look. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I mean, for me, looking at all these wave counts, I guess looking at all the stock equivalents, I would probably put the odds of Bitcoin correcting back down lower, maybe a little bit higher than I had earlier. Maybe it's 30 to 40% odds. But it's tough. Like, you know, I wish I was that smart. I wish I was that smart to tell you, but it looks like to me, based on, I think, most important BITX, that this should go lower. Now, if this is a shallow connector here, and it very well could be, then, and if it just fails today as we're trading, that would be 61,000 buy area. So that would be down here. That would be a real shallow connector, but that would be the setup. So I think if we could break below this low at 63.2 and erase divergence on the 45-minute, if we could come down and take these peaks out, or this peak out here, then I believe it will drop to 61, and that would be a buy opportunity to go long the crypto market if you missed the move earlier. And it would be just a shallow B wave connector like that. If it can't do that, it could be in B. So it's too many possibilities. But I think for right now, I think the best thing to do is just kind of like let this correction develop a little more and then decide. But I think trading this is kind of dangerous. I think you have to be on the sidelines. But if you were trading it with me back when I was telling you to go long down here, you don't really care what's happening here. And that's how you're supposed to trade, guys. You're supposed to buy low so you don't have to worry about these kind of corrections, right? If you're buying up here, well, you're doing it wrong, right? So if you're buying down here, down here, down here, then when you get up here, it doesn't matter what the markets do. Who cares? You could care less. You're just trading other things today. You're not even watching the crypto market. So I think for me, the crypto market should, based on BITX, I think, you know, a pullback wouldn't surprise me, a lower pullback. So I'll just show this. But I like I said, I'm torn between, because the 45-minute, that was a hard capitulation. That was a hard sell-off that happened. That could have easily produced a bottom. So again, that's why I'm not surprised if it were to bottom. There's no setup. There's no obvious clue that I could find. So good luck. Okay, Eddie, TAN H. Let's take a look at TAN H. Again, it's kind of a go to zero stock. If you look, you see that bullish divergence here on the weekly. You see eventually that weekly will come out. It will reset. So again, it looks like to me you're just moving in 3 swings down. That's from that low here. And you see you're close. The buy would be at 7.6. You got very close to it. That's the ideal buy area for the well, let me get it quite right there we go. 6.6 was the area. Now looking at this from that peak, and then this looks like an AB. And then you're in some kind of C leg. Like here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then your B wave connector. Now you need 5 down in C. And you need to erase divergence. You've done that, but you didn't take this peak out. So my guess is it's got more downside, but not a lot more. I think it needs one good flush lower. And then that should do it for a bigger. I think it's too soon. Not yet for the pump. But you need to take this peak out right there. And you didn't. I want to see that drop. So again, I can't be wrong. Do what's best for you. But I believe that this is not ready yet. Something like that. I don't know if it's going to go that low, but it should have one more capitulation move down. Okay. TLT. Again, if the chart on the 20-year is right, guys, this 20-year, the TLT should go lower, go higher, right? Look. And the TLT would be a buy, like right, could be a buy right now on this. So let's go to the TLT and take a look. I haven't updated this chart in a while, so I'll have to go back and just take another look at this chart here. So again, we had the buy on the TLT, guys, here a long time ago on my channel. It's taken a really crazy path, you know, to get to where we are today. So I'm gonna we're gonna need to relabel this now that we have it. I'm gonna look at it as coming off of 3 swing moves off this low. See, if you look at this, ABC, 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 your peak, your divergence, you see how you corrected the whole cycle? This whole cycle is being corrected here. You would think it would go a little deeper down to 94 before you get one more move higher. Or it's setting you up to erase divergence off of this low. So let's just kind of take a step back. If that's A, because it's 5 off the low, that's B. Now we're in C. My guess, now could C be done here? Let's just make sure. It's possible. So I think you got to be careful in the TLT. We already know the 7-year bond has already technically made its low in rates potentially, which means the 20-year and 10-year could truncate. It may not go much lower from here. We see 5 waves up. We see divergence. We see a whole cycle resetting, which means this cycle is over. We see 5, 3, 5. You also see no divergence here. I think the TLT, it's dangerous. It's there's still, and this is why I'm worried about the bond market, guys. I think there's a chance the bond market may not, the rates may not go low any lower anymore, or much lower. Yeah, maybe there's still a counter trend move. See, 104 would be the better area to sell off in right here. See how we truncated it. We truncated this area in bonds. Hold on and get rid of this drawn. Okay. So yeah, I would be careful because this could be a couple of things. This could be a 1-2, 1-2, and this will erase divergence and search. Or it could be 5, and then we're still in C, and it's going to get even more extreme where this will become like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do something like that. And then the weekly cycle will come all the way up, and then it will top out. Just so you know, ultimately the TLT is probably going to break this low at 79 in the future. So this is just tradable balances. So I think with the TLT, I think right now this cycle's over from this low, and it's correcting it. You got to get it back above 101.84 to get the higher prices again. If you can't, then it may never come back above. It may be already finished, ready to go into its next downtrend. So, but it's very dangerous. I don't know. We don't have enough data other than the 7-year. Like I said, if we go through the bond market, again, using my system, and I can't be wrong, but somehow the bond market, we've been right most of the time. Our batting average calling the bond market's been pretty accurate so far. Like we'll start with the 1-year. The 1-year is in the area for reversal right here, right now. It won't go any lower. What does that mean? What the Fed's going to raise rates? Well, how could they raise rates? What do you mean? The Fed's going to raise rates? Are you effing out of your mind? Well, maybe what China did is going to backfire, right? I heard iron ore was up like 10% last night or 8%, right? All that printing, money printing feels good, but it may mean it may be counterproductive. It may be seeing that play out. Or maybe the war in the Middle East gets going and oil goes to the moon. I don't know. So that's the 1-year. The 2-year is in the same situation. Should reverse. The 7-year, here. Now the 10-year has a little bit more room to go. In the 20-year, we have more room, which is the TLT. So, but what if it's already finished? And that's what the TLT is kind of telling us. So I think you got to be, it's really careful. Now, I would like to see it tag this. Here's your, that's what I'd like to see, but the market's going to do what it wants to do. Ultimately, it wants to go higher. This is counter trend. There is to me, no historical investment opportunity in TLT. The people that are going to go all in on bonds right here, they're going to end up losing everything, or they're going to panic sell. It's a tradable bounce. It always was. And that tradable bounce may be over. We just don't know yet. But we'll know very soon because we're running out of time. We'll know very soon. All right. Ethereum. Let's take a look at that. We haven't looked at Ethereum in a long time. My chart may not be up to date. So big picture on Ethereum, right? 5 waves up, 3 waves down. The problem you have in Ethereum is you only have this 3-wave sequence higher. Although there is another count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? There's this other count, right? Or it could even be a 1, 2, 1, 2, and this is the finished low. So first off, you have this big trend line that held. That's important. Then you have this 3-wave move that finished here, but now it's kind of stuck. So there's no real good clue to understand like where exactly it's going. But I would believe I would worry that this is a corrective move, and now you're in this 3-wave undecided area. The market hasn't decided. Our futures are not, predetermined. We don't know what the market participants want to do yet with crypto and Ethereum, but it's set up for both. The Elliott wave pattern says it could do either. It could pump or crash, in which is not very helpful. Looking at this, I would just say trade it long off of this low. As long as you're above 2,000, I would continue to think there's more upside and kind of ignore Elliott wave labeling for now. But once you break this 2000 level, all hell will break loose. And if I just look at it from a technical trade, you have a kind of like a double top, a neckline that broke, a back test that failed, and you really need to get back above 28.5, back above 20, like 2,900. So I think the bears are in control here, right? It seems like the bears are in control of this chart, but as long as you're above 2,050, it's technically still bullish because you had this three-wave move here. So I would say if you're long, you got to be cautious. You have to be cautious here. You have to be cautious here is what I'm saying. But this could very well be the count right here, something like this. Something like that. So if I was trading in and someone put a gun to my head and you have to trade in, look, this looks like 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Someone put a gun to my head, I would take the long position. Ideal entry would be at 24.69. Stop loss at 21.30. Big stop. So it'd be a high risk, but the reward could be enormous because it could be a major cycle low that could take you to new all-time highs and even higher. Negating the bearish setup where this could become, like I said, a 1, 2, 1, 2. It could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could be a lot of things. And where the 2 would be here. So I think the Elliott waves don't give you a clear picture, but I would label it this. This is how I'd label the chart personally. And I would just say that the market has to hold these levels right here. This right here has to hold. If not, I would expect, like I always say, it's like uncontrollable, catastrophic selling, panic selling like you've never seen before. That's what I would think if this can't hold. But I don't really see a clue other than there. It does look like 5 up here. It does look like 5 up with your 2-wave starting. The 4-hour, look at that. That's good. Something like that. All right, ETH. All right, Lazel, let's go back to yours. CSPI. So CSPI, you see how you broke that low here off of a connector wave. So this could be, like I said, these connectors typically like to do this, right? When that happens. So I would expect that. Like, I almost assume that's the case because it happens so much in this market now, where I destroy bears, destroy bulls. So I would expect something like this. So as long as you're above 1067, I would expect it to come all the way back up, to 20. Because it looks like a 3-wave trap connector, something like that. And this cycle looks like it's too, not enough data to properly label it, although it does look like it's trying. It could be like a 1, 2, 1, 2, ready for 3. Could be a lot of things here. As long as you're above 1078, I would be expecting this C leg to play out. But then I would expect that to fail and may produce another leg lower because you made the lower low. Something like that. And then KARO. Let's take a look. Okay, so we broke the high. That's pretty good for this. Looks like some kind of 5 waves down. It's like a flat, like right out of the gate. Right? So it's bullish off of this low. So let's take a look at some of these cycles. Yeah, we'll have to try to label this if we can. See, as it keeps erasing divergence. For some reason, people are really trying to short it and they're getting blown up. And that's probably another one too. So let's go to the shorter time frame and see this wave 5 and take a look at it. Yeah, I mean, it barely erased divergence here. I mean, there's a chance it's not even a wave 5. It could be another one too. So I'll show a buy setup for this. Again, this is like if you really want to try to go long, the buy setup is at $36.77, $36 right here. We need to get some separation. There's too many overlapping waves. So what that tells me is the bears are getting desperate. They're losing control. Eventually, you'll get that bigger separation without the overlap in nature. There's too much overlap in waves, which I think will go higher. This will go higher. This is what I'm thinking. What does this company do? Logistics. Some kind of logistics company. Maybe it'll benefit from the port strikes. I don't know. Okay, good luck on that. Let's see, XRP. Let's take a look at XRP. Oh, finally, we're getting this breakout. I told people you had to be patient to get this breakout. Looks like to me it's in a, like this kind of setup right now. It's possible that it could be a lead in diagonal coming out, like that's a 3. That's possible too, something like this. We'll label it this way to be conservative, but you see how this peak hasn't been taken out yet. So I expect that will happen. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, you see the daily. So to me, it's definitely got more upside, but how to label it is tricky, but I would just label it now. But like I kept telling people asking me about this coin, you need to just hold it. You just got to hold it. Like these shorter cycles are really unpredictable, but at some point I do expect a bigger move out of this, and it seems like it's starting to do that. You know, coming out of this resistance may now be support. There's always a chance it could fail. I will say, because it's 3, I always show you the other alternative, and if we're still in X, it would be 3, and it would come back all the way back down to 50 cents. But again, it would still be a buy opportunity if that's the case. So it's an area of congestion that eventually should resolve higher for those who are patient. But that's how I label it right now. I'll just label it like this for now. Okay, popcorn, tuna, Diamondback Energy, FANG. Is that the symbol for Diamondback Energy? I guess it is. Okay, big picture, pretty bullish chart. Can't really do the RSIs. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, I would still say we haven't seen wave 3 of 3 yet on it. Right? That's some 1-2 right here. Now this is probably a 4 here. Now, so there's a couple things. More than likely, that's a 4. But if you look at it from this perspective, you're resetting the whole cycle, and you have slight. So I'd probably label it like this. And here's her 4. So I wouldn't put the 3 there. This is just going to be another 1-2. That should produce a violent move higher at some point. But how deep is this going to go? I mean, the weekly cycle would be nice to see it come all the way to oversold. I think it's going to have more downside. If that's the case, there's your connector, and that should fail. It looks like it's about to fail. And you saw where oil, I think, is going. So the buy would be right around 144, 134, right here. For the buy, that would be a good setup. If it could just drop from here, if the market will do that sell off. And then we can get that big multi-year rally, where energy, I think, will be a great opportunity. Probably because oil will go higher, the money will be printed, and maybe there will be a bigger war in the Middle East in the future. Who knows what's going to happen? But I do see an inflationary bear market being born in front of our eyes, and this plays into that trade, but not quite yet. I want to see this push lower. See, on the daily, you got that reset. So we know this is the connector. Now, could this still be in a connector? It's possible. It's possible, but I mean, this would be very bullish for energy. I mean, if this is a 2, that would mean energy's bottomed here. I think it's got one more swing lower. I think it does, but I can't rule out the connector wave chops around more. All right, good luck on that. For solar, yeah, I think the green complex will do really well once oil bottoms and starts its next cycle higher. But until then, I do believe there's risk buying any of these green stocks. There's risk. Okay. There's risk. So I think that's what you're going to have to kind of decide. So I have this in this connector wave. That should fail. Now, the higher the connector wave goes, the higher the target, right? Here's our wave 4. So typically, you'll want to see it at least go to 142. You want to see it go to 142. So that gets to 152. So that's better. Yeah. So again, I'm looking for another swing lower in this with oil making that capitulation move lower. These sectors should sell off and then become great opportunities, because if energy and commodities are going to surge in the future, people will be begging for solar, alternative energy, EVs, all that stuff. So that's what I'm looking for, something like that in First Solar, a pullback, something like that. I still want to see that bigger drop. All right. Stacy, appreciate the big super chat. Let's go into your questions here. DG. So Dollar General. Dollar General did hit the extreme area. So I warned people not to bottom fish. Now again, it does look like the cycle needs one more low, but a lot of times we've seen sometimes the cycles can truncate a little sooner. So I would say that this is the area, so it's close to a low, but you'll have to do with this information what you want to. I would say that we don't have confirmation yet that it's bottomed, but it should be maybe one more low is what I'm thinking ideally. Personally, I wouldn't buy it here, but I would wait. And if I don't get it, I just don't get it. It's no big deal. But if I can get that final pullback, that's what I'm really looking for. DLTR. That is Dollar Tree. So that's Dollar General. This is Dollar Tree. I don't think we have this one labeled. Kind of the same setup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Right, something like that. And then there's your 3-wave move down. There's your 4 right around where you bottomed out. Typically lose the whole wave 5, which is typical. So just a typical grand supercycle correction is in the buy area, just like its counterpart. But again, the swings are the swings there. Whoops, let's go back and so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 down here. Yeah, I mean, this looks like a shallow connector right here. 3 and then 3. It looks like this one looks like it's a better bottom opportunity. Like this one looks like it bottomed here around this area. It looks like a better setup than DG to me. It looks like a better setup, but you'll have to decide. But to me, it meets all the criteria that I'd want to see for a long trade, and then just have a stop at 61. 5. Five is in the buy area. It's already bouncing. So 5 is done here. And that looks like to me, that could be a 4 and a 5. Yeah, that would look, to me, that's what this one looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a bigger pullback. If this doesn't hold and it just drops, then this is a connector for this whole cycle. And I would definitely look for a lot more downside below 64 if this can't hold that low. So there's no guarantee you'll get that 5th wave, but I would expect that you get a 5th wave out of this. So how can you tell between a 1-2, 1-2 or an ABC with RSI? So a 1-2, 1-2 is like, if this could be a 1-2, 1-2. Because you see this, the RSI here is higher. This bottom here, it produces a higher high. Now, if the RSI was lower, it wouldn't be. If the minute the RSI drops and breaks this right here, then I would assume you won't get a 5th wave. You would be corrective. But here you have a 1-2, 1-2. Also, there's no divergence at this peak. You see there's no divergence. That's why I think it's a 3. So this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get 5 with the bearish divergence. Or it could be, like you said, a 1-2, 1-2. But I never assume 1-2, 1-2 because that's just too bullish to just guess those. But yes, it could still be this. This is still the count, 1-2, 1-2, right? It's still the count. This is a very valid count right now. It's as valid as this count is right now. So you just have to decide on your own, that's the key. Now, typically a 1-2, 1-2 is more likely if the market's been sold off for an extended period of time like this is. So this could very well be a 1-2, 1-2, but I never like to just default to that bullish count. unless it's really clear. But to me, this looks like a 3-4. But if we break that low, that definitely will negate the 1-2-1-2 for sure. And then all of a sudden, now you're thinking it's a corrective move, or it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the 1-2-1-2 would be negated. Still looking lower for LTCN. Let's see here. See the 4, I would still be looking for this to come back into this area. Yes, I'd say yes. This would be really bullish. Now, I'm looking for that, but again, I can't predict the future. Again, long term, it's going to be higher. How it gets there is tough. Like look, you have 3 waves down. So it could be done here, but you only have 3 up, so we don't know. Now, if it can make another high, then you have 5 off the low. Then the low you have to put is in, right? So we don't know. It's in limbo. Crypto is in limbo right now. The market hasn't made up its decision what it wants to do, but like I said, I think it's got another swing lower coming later. I just think it does, and this would be an area here. I just think it does. So I'm still looking for this area. So yes, I'm still looking for more downside. I still am. As long as we're below this 1565. And again, we want to see bearish divergence between these peaks here. If we erase divergence, then it could still be corrective, which means it could still go lower later. So it's you have to watch the RSI, but I still think it's this. I'm not buying it here. I wouldn't buy it here if I would be waiting. And yeah, if I got to pull back down to here or more, or even better at 11, great opportunity. That'd be ideal. But we'll see if the market wants to give us that or not. Okay, so I got through everyone's super chat. Let's just take a look at the market. I haven't been really paying attention to it. Let's see, how's the VIX doing? Yeah, VIX is kind of pumping. Short squeeze. Again, it won't be a straight up line, right? It doesn't ever go up straight up. Maybe there's your first wave 3 is finished here. Like we have some 4s and 5s, and then a big, you know how it is, a big pullback. So what's the rest of the market doing? So we have this kind of like wedge looking thing. It's trying to like break out down, I guess. Again, as long as it's below 574, 3-1, the bears are still in control there. Same thing with the Nasdaq, trying to break this downtrend. How about the Dow? Again, Dow could. So it looks like we're still in these bearish, turns, just getting some counter trend volatility, day trader volatility going on. How's silver doing? Be careful with silver. It could be a good buy here, but I did show you that there is a chance the swings are over, so it's a very risky long. But there could be some payoff here if you get this 3 of 5, if it's still in 5. Let's go to the Japanese yen real quick. The Japanese yen made a huge move off this low. I believe it's to me now we had this in a WXY where it could come back up and pump, but this move was so severe and sudden. To me, I think it's labeled as just like a bigger impulse. If that's the case, the last time the yen turned down, the market peaked. And then when the yen bottomed, the market rallied on August 5th. So if this is the peak in the yen here and we're turning down, then until the yen gets to like 124, the market could be in a bear mode. And we saw that with the Japanese market, right? It had a big sell-off coincided with that drop here, right? This 2-wave could be finished, right? Now, a lot of people have it as a 4 here. We have 5, but we don't know exactly where, it is yet, but we're going to know soon. So I don't know. I think you got to be careful. Bulls have to be careful here because you may have this yen carry dynamic part 2 coming back to the market if the yen if the yen weakness is over and we're going to start seeing a new round of yen strength, that should sell off the market. All right, guys, that's all I've got today. Good luck trading. I'll do another live stream either Wednesday or later in the week, depending on also if there's been market moving news or not.